she said. We're not even a real couple, so stop sticking your nose in my schedule. The words hit like a brick, thrown casually in front of her friends, who snickered like they just heard the punchline of the year. I stood there, holding a grocery bag full of kale and chicken breasts I'd bought for her stupid smoothie diet, and just nodded. No argument, no comeback, just a tight smile. Her friendslets call them the trio of smirk. Lauren, Megan, and Kate laughed louder, like I was some sitcom loser who'd just been owned. My girlfriend, Ashley, tossed her hair and walked out of my apartment, already texting about her weekend plans. I didn't say a word, but as the door clicked shut, something in me clicked too. A quiet, dangerous kind of clarity. Ashley wanted to play the not a real couple card? Fine. Play it right back. We'd been together for 18 months, and for the last 8, she'd been living in my apartment. My name's on the lease, my name's on the utilities, and my name's on the mailbox label she insisted on customizing with little heart stickers that now felt like a cruel joke. I'm Jake, 29, a freelance web developer who likes routine. I'm not a control freak. I don't care who Ashley hangs out with or where she goes, as long as there's some basic respect. I thought that's what we had. I pay the rent, buy the groceries, keep the Wi-Fi running. She gets to live here rent-free, eat my food, and use my Netflix account. To me, that's a partnership. To Ashley, I'm starting to think it's just a free ride. Ashley's different. She's 26, a part-time influencer with 12,000 Instagram followers, always chasing the next aesthetic. Her life revolves around her friends, the trio, who I privately call the Smirkers because they've got this synchronized eye-roll thing down to an art. They're always at my place, drinking my coffee, leaving wine stains on my counter, and hyping Ashley up like she's the star of some reality show. I don't mind company, but it's my apartment, not a influencer lounge. Still, I let it slide. I'm chill, or at least I try to be. My idea of a good time is coding a clean website, maybe cracking open a craft beer and watching a Marvel movie. Ashley's idea of a good time is a weekend getaway she doesn't tell me about until it's happening. That's what led to her big line. It was a Thursday evening, and I was prepping dinner grilled chicken, her favorite, because she's cutting carbs again. She breezed into the kitchen, phone glued to her ear, already dressed in a crop top and ripped jeans, makeup flawless. Oh my God, Lauren, I'm totally in, she said, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. A girl's trip to Napa? Yes, please. No, Jake's not coming. Don't be dumb. She laughed, hung up, and turned to me with this fake sweet smile. Good news, babe. Me and the girls are doing a wine weekend in Napa, leaving tomorrow. I blinked, stirring the pan. Napa? Cool. When did you plan this? It was a normal question, the kind you ask when you live with someone and share a fridge. But Ashley froze, like I just demanded her social security number. She let out this sharp, dramatic laugh and turned to Megan, who just walked in with a bottle of rose. Can you believe this guy? Ashley said, rolling her eyes. He thinks he gets to know my itinerary. Megan smirked, popping the cork. Oh, Jake, you're adorable. What's next? You gonna check her phone? The other two smirkers, Lauren and Kate, materialized in my kitchen like they'd been summoned by a group chat. They laughed in unison, a grating chorus. That's when Ashley hit me with it. We're not even a real couple, so stop sticking your nose in my schedule. The smirkers erupted, like she'd just dropped a mic. I stood there, spatula in hand, chicken sizzling, and felt the room tilt. Not because I was mad, but because I was done. Done pretending this was a relationship. Done being the backdrop to her Instagram life. I didn't yell. I didn't throw the spatula. I just smiled, wide and empty, and said, "You're right. My bad." They laughed again, thinking I was backing down. Ashley gave me a patronizing little wink, and the smirkers swept out, off to some pre-trip happy hour. The apartment went quiet, just the hum of the fridge and the faint sizzle of the chicken. I turned off the stove, dumped the food in the trash, and stood there. Plan was forming. Not a loud, dramatic one. A quiet, devastating one. Ashley wanted to play the not a couple game. I'd show her what that really meant. The next morning, as soon as Ashley's Cara leased BMW, she could barely afford disappeared down the street. I got to work. First stop, my neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez. He's a retired cop, 65, with a knack for noticing everything. He's got a security camera on his porch that catches half my front door, and he loves gossip more than his evening cigars. I brought him a six-pack of his favorite IPA and sat on his stoop. Mr. Rodriguez, I said, after we chatted about the weather and the new stop sign on the corner. I need a favor. It's about Ashley. She said something interesting last night. I told him the whole story, word for word. No embellishment. His bushy eyebrows shot up, and he let out a low whistle. That girl's got some nerve, he said, shaking his head. What do you need me to do? I laid out the plan. When Ashley came back and found herself locked out, he'd play the confused neighbor, drop a few key details about my new life, and let her stew. He grinned, cracking open a beer. Kid, you're evil. I love it. I'm in. With my wingman secured, I headed back to my apartment and started what I called Operation Solo Vibes. Ashley's stuff was everywhere. Her candles that smelled like overpriced yoga retreats. Her throw pillows that screamed live, laugh, love. Her skincare fridge that took up half my counter. I didn't just pack her things, I organized them with surgical precision. I rented a small storage unit, grabbed boxes, and got to work. One box for her clothes, labeled OTD collection. Another for her makeup, labeled Face Filters IRL. Her 20 pairs of sneakers, all white, went into a box marked sneaker clones. I was careful, methodical, even folding her stuff neatly. I'm not a monster. I just wanted her gone. By Saturday afternoon, her physical presence was erased from my apartment. I hired a couple of guys from a moving app, and we loaded everything into the storage unit. I paid for 1 month, call it a parting gift. Then I got to the fun part, reclaiming my space. Ashley's aesthetic was all beige and fake plants, like a Pinterest board threw up. I wanted my apartment to scream Jake. I sold her minimalist coffee table on Craigslist for $50 and bought a vintage arcade machine, non-functional, but it lit up and looked badass. I rolled up her cream rug and replaced it with a dark gray one that didn't show beer stains. Her sad little couch went to a college kid for cheap, and I splurged on a navy blue sectional with built-in recliners. It was like the Batmobile of furniture. The real game changer came Saturday evening. I'd always wanted a dog, but Ashley was allergic, code for, I don't want fur on my outfits. Screw that. I drove to the local shelter, just to look. 2 hours later, I was back with a pug named Nacho. He was 15 pounds of wrinkles, snorts, and pure chaos. He waddled into the apartment, claimed the new sectional, and farted so loud I laughed for 5 minutes straight. Nacho was my guy, my co-pilot in this new, Ashley-free life. I wasn't done. I went to a bike shop and bought a sleek black mountain bike. Something I'd wanted for years, but never got because Ashley said it'd clutter the vibe. I parked it proudly in the living room, right next to the arcade machine. Then I changed the Wi-Fi password to Not Your House 123, and the network name to Jake's Castle. The final touch, a framed poster of a velociraptor riding a motorcycle, hung above the couch. It was gloriously stupid, and it felt like me. Sunday morning, I took Nacho for a walk, practiced some tricks. He mostly just rolled over for treats, and snapped a few photos. Him on the sectional, him with his tongue out, him staring at the arcade machine like it was an alien. I posted one on Instagram, captioned, "New roommate, new vibes, solo vibes, Nacho the pug." My friends blew up the comments, loving it. The smirkers, I noticed, were silent. Ashley hadn't posted anything since her Napa stories, all wine glasses and sunsets. I knew she'd be back that night, and I was ready. Sunday evening, around 8 p.m., my doorbell camera pinged. There she was, Ashley, in a sundress, tan and smug, scrolling her phone as she dug for her key. She tried the lock. Nothing. She tried again, harder, like the key was personally offending her. Her face twisted, first confusion, then annoyance. She banged on the door. "Jake, what the hell?" Nacho, sprawled on the sectional, let out a half-hearted snort and went back to sleep. I sipped my beer, watching the camera feed on my phone. She called me. I declined. She called again. Declined. 5 calls later, she was screaming into the void. "Jake, open the damn door. My key's not working." I stayed silent, letting her marinate. Right on cue, "Mister, Rodriguez's porch light flicked on. He shuffled out in his slippers, holding a coffee mug like he'd just wandered outside by accident. "Ashley? That you?" he called, his voice all innocent concern. "Oh, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank God," she said, practically running to his fence. "My key's not working, and Jake's not answering. Is he home?" "Oh, he's home," Mr. Rodriguez said, leaning on his railing like a gossiping sage. "He's had a hell of a weekend. Told me you two aren't a real couple, so he's embracing the single life. Got a new bike, redecorated the place, even got a dog. Cute little pug named Nacho. Said he's done worrying about your schedule, since you don't want him in it." He paused, letting it sink in. "Real nice guy. Jake. Deserves to be happy." Ashley's mouth dropped open. She turned, slow motion, and peered through my living room window. I dimmed the lights earlier, but the arcade machine's glow lit up Nacho, sprawled like a king on the sectional. Her eyes widened, taking in the bike, the rug, the Velociraptor poster. She let out a noise half scream, half choke, and started hammering my door again. "Jake, you asshole. Open the door." I didn't move. Instead, I sent her a text. "You said we're not a real couple. You said I don't get a say in your schedule. Cool. This is my apartment, and you don't get a say in it. Your stuff's at 456 Storage Lane, Unit 17. Code is 5678. You've got 1 month. Good luck." I hit send, blocked her number, and leaned back. Nacho snored. The camera showed Ashley reading the text, her face crumpling. She threw her phone onto the laundromatic. Even in defeat then stormed off, calling one of the Smirkers for a ride. The fallout was predictable. By Monday morning, Ashley's Instagram was a war zone of vague, sad girl posts. "Betrayal hurts, but I'm stronger," with a black and white photo of her staring into the distance. The Smirkers chimed in, calling me toxic and controlling. I let them have their moment. Tuesday, I dropped my counterattack. I posted a photo album on my private Facebook, just for mutual friends. First photo, the apartment a month ago, all beige and boring, captioned before. Second photo, the new setup sectional, by Arcade Machine, Nacho in all his glory, captioned after. Last photo, me and Nacho, grinning, captioned. Heard I'm not part of a real couple, so I'm living my truth. Nacho rules solo vibes. The post exploded. Friends commented fire emojis and savage. The Smirkers' narrative collapsed as people saw the full story. Ashley wasn't the victim. She'd played herself. By Wednesday, I heard through a friend that she'd crashed with Lauren but was already wearing out her welcome, complaining nonstop and not pitching in for groceries. A week later, she moved back to her parents' place in Sacramento, 2 hours away. She tried the legal route, sending a letter from a sketchy lawyer demanding access to her home and compensation for emotional distress. My lawyer buddy from college who does real estate law sent back a copy of my lease, my utility bills, and a polite note asking if Ashley planned to repay me for 8 months of free rent, food, and Wi-Fi. The lawyer ghosted. The cherry on top came a month later at the dog park. Nacho was chasing his own tail, drawing laughs from other owners. When Kate, one of the Smirkers, approached me, she looked nervous, fiddling with her keys. "Hey, Jake," she said. I'm sorry about that night at your place. We were jerks." Ashley was out of line. I shrugged. She said what she meant. I just listened. Kate nodded, glancing at Nacho, who was now trying to befriend a Great Dane. "You seem happy," she said. "Nacho's awesome." She was right. I am happy. The apartment's mine again, no candles. No pillows. Just my bike, my pug, and my life. The arcade machine still doesn't work, but it's a vibe. Nacho's the best wingman I could ask for, loyal, snorty, and zero drama. Ashley's still posting about healing and growth, but I don't check anymore. She told me who she was, and I believed her. Sometimes, the best revenge is just agreeing with someone and letting them deal with the consequences. For me, it's just me, Nacho, and a wide open road. And that's more than enough. That's more than enough.